A man in a torn jacket stands at a grocery checkout. He can't pay. The woman behind him screams at him to get out, calls him a burden, says he crawled out from under a bridge. Nobody in line says a word. Nobody helps. Except one cashier making minimum wage who pulls out her last $20 and pays for his groceries. She has no idea who he is. Nobody does. Because the man in that torn jacket is Keanu Reeves, and he just watched the whole thing happen. Valley Market on Sycamore Boulevard. The usual chaos. Long lines, tired people, fluorescent lights humming overhead, the smell of fresh bread drifting from the bakery section. Nothing special. Nothing unusual. Shopping carts with wobbly wheels bumping into each other. Everyone scanning their phones, shifting their weight from one foot to the other, just trying to grab what they needed and get home. Just another weekend grocery run in Southern California. Then a man walked in through the automatic doors. He moved slowly, almost carefully, like someone who was used to being looked at the wrong way. His jacket was old, the kind of old that goes beyond worn out. Frayed at the cuffs, faded at the shoulders, with a tear along the left pocket that had never been stitched. His pants had been washed so many times the color had given up trying to stay. He wore a knit cap pulled low over his forehead, and beneath it, his hair fell in messy, tangled strands past his ears. A rough beard covered his jaw, patchy and unkempt. His shoes had seen much better years. He picked up a basket near the entrance and moved through the aisles slowly, the way a person does when every dollar counts. A bag of rice, a can of dried beans, a small bottle of cooking oil, a loaf of white bread, a few onions, some tomatoes, simple things, survival things. The kind of groceries that do not impress anyone, but keep a person alive for another week. He placed each item into the basket gently, almost respectfully, as though he understood the weight of what food means when you do not have much of it. A few shoppers stepped aside when he passed, the way people do when they want distance from someone who looks like they might ask for something. Nobody looked at him twice. The man in the worn jacket noticed all of it. He said nothing. He chose register 3, waited his turn, placed his items on the conveyor belt one by one, and that is when he met her. Her name tag read Solenne, mid-20s, dark skin the color of rich earth after a long rain, natural hair cut short and close to her head. No makeup, no jewelry except a thin silver chain with a small cross that caught the light when she moved. She had the kind of face that did not demand attention but quietly earned it. Gentle eyes that noticed everything. A mouth that smiled easily, even when she was tired. And she looked tired. Not the kind from one bad night, but from months and years of not enough rest, not enough food, not enough of anything except work. But she smiled at him anyway. "Good afternoon, sir," she said warmly as she began scanning his items. "Cooking something good tonight?" He looked at her like he had not expected that. Like kindness had caught him off guard. "I hope so," he said. "An old recipe, something my father used to love." "That sounds wonderful," Solon said, scanning the rice, the beans, the oil. "Food is love, right? Doesn't matter where it comes from or how fancy it is. If someone made it with care, you can taste it." The man smiled, a real smile. Small, but real. She finished scanning. "Your total is $19.73, sir." He reached into his jacket pocket, then his other pocket, then his pants. He patted the lining of his jacket. His hands moved faster now, checking the same pockets again. His face shifted from confusion to embarrassment to something worse. That sinking, helpless feeling everyone recognizes, being caught short in a checkout line with strangers watching. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I think I forgot my wallet. I don't have any money on me." And that is when the line behind him reacted. The woman directly behind him had been waiting for this kind of moment. Not this exact one, but the kind where she could remind everyone within earshot how important she was. Her name was Margox Whitfield. 40, 8 years old. Everything about her screamed expensive. Designer handbag on one arm. Acrylic nails freshly done, long and sharp. Hair blown out and styled. The kind of salon work that costs more than some people's grocery bill for a month. silk blouse tucked into pressed slacks, heels clicking against the linoleum like a countdown. She erupted. "Are you serious right now?" Her voice sliced through the hum of the store. "Some of us have been standing in this line for 15 minutes, and you don't even have money." Every head in the checkout area turned. The man's face flushed deeper. "I'm sorry. I really am. I must have left it at. Must have left it where?" She cut him off, hands flying up. "Must have thought groceries are free. Must have thought you could wander in here looking like that and waste everyone's time." She turned to the shoppers behind her, arms spread wide, performing for an audience she had appointed herself. "Can you believe this? This man walks in dressed like he crawled out from under a bridge, picks up a basket of food, and can't even pay for it. What is this, a shelter?" Nobody responded. But nobody told her to stop either. Sometimes silence is its own kind of cruelty. Then a voice from further back, deep and clipped, the kind used to being listened to in conference rooms. "She's right, Declan Furrow. About 55. Charcoal vest over a pressed white shirt. Silver watch catching the fluorescent light. The look of someone who had done well enough in life to confuse his opinions with facts. People like him shouldn't be holding up the line. This is a grocery store, not a soup kitchen. Some of us are paying customers. People like him." 3 words that drew a line across the floor, between the people who belonged and the people who did not. The store manager rushed over. Preston Garza. Thin, nervous, tie too tight. "Sir, if you can't pay, I'm going to have to ask you to step aside." The man nodded slowly. "I understand. I'm sorry for the trouble." He began to reach for his groceries, ready to put them back, ready to do the quiet, dignified thing that people without power learn to do in moments of humiliation. To fold. To shrink. To disappear. "I'll cover it." Soft, certain, not asking permission. Everyone turned. Solenne was already pulling a crumpled $20 bill from her apron pocket and counting coins beside it. One by one. Carefully. She smoothed the 20 on the counter with her palm, the way someone handles something precious. Preston shook his head. "Solenne, you can't do that. Store policy. I'm not using the store's money. This is mine, and I choose to spend it on this. $19.73. Exactly the amount." That crumpled 20 and those few coins were her lunch money. The only cash she had to her name for the next 5 days. She slid it all into the register and began bagging his groceries. Rice on the bottom, bread on top so it would not get crushed, onions and tomatoes in their own smaller bag. She did it with care, as though it mattered. Because to her it did. The store went quiet. Not normal quiet. The heavy, uncomfortable kind that falls when everyone in a room realizes they have just failed a test they did not know they were taking. Every person in that line had watched a man get humiliated, and the only one who moved was the one earning minimum wage, the one who could not afford to lose that $20. She gave it without hesitation, without conditions, without asking what was in it for her. Margox crossed her arms. "That was your money to waste, I suppose. Some of us aren't foolish enough to throw cash at strangers who belong on a street corner." Solon did not look at her. She handed the bags to the man and smiled. "Here you go, sir. You have a good evening. I hope that recipe turns out the way your father used to make it." "Why did you do that?" he asked quietly. "You were hungry. You needed food. I had money. It's not complicated. But that was everything you had. I've skipped lunch before. I'll be fine. My mama always told me, the hand that gives is the hand that receives." He blinked hard, said her name like it mattered, picked up his bags, walked toward the exit. The automatic doors slid open. Late afternoon California sun poured in, warm and golden. He stepped halfway through, stopped, turned around, slowly, deliberately, and walked back toward Register 3. Margox rolled her eyes. "Oh, what now?" He set the bags on the counter, reached into the inside lining of his jacket, a hidden pocket no one would have noticed, and pulled out a phone. Not a cheap phone. Sleek. Expensive. The kind that costs more than Solon made in a week. He pressed one button. "Cyrus, bring the car to the front, and bring the envelope." His voice was different now. Calm, but with something underneath it. Authority. The kind that does not need volume. 30 seconds of silence. Then the sound of an engine outside. Low. Smooth. The kind you hear in a parking lot and instinctively turn to look at, because it sounds like money. A black SUV pulled up to the entrance. Tinted windows. Polished rims. A man stepped out in a tailored dark suit, walked through the automatic doors, and straight to Register 3. "Mr. Reeves," he said, clear enough for the whole checkout area to hear. "Here is what you requested." He handed over a leather envelope. Mr. Reeves. The name landed like a stone in still water. The man reached up and pulled off the knit cap, pushed the tangled hair back from his face. And there it was, the jawline, the eyes, 3 decades of movies behind them. Recognition came in waves. A gasp near Register 5. A teenager tugging his mother's sleeve. A stock clerk near the bread aisle with his mouth hanging open. Whispers building like wind before a storm. "Oh my God. That's Keanu Reeves. That's actually Keanu Reeves." Margox's face drained white. He let the moment settle. Then he spoke. Quiet. Steady. Every person in the store hanging on each word. "My name is Keanu Reeves. I came to this store today with nothing in my pockets. On purpose. I wanted to know what happens when a man who looks like he has nothing can't pay for rice and bread. Who helps? Who turns away? And who decides, based on nothing but a torn jacket, that he doesn't deserve to be treated like a human being?" He looked at Margox. "You decided I was less than you, based on what I was wearing. Nothing else." Her lips trembled. "I didn't know. You meant every word. That's the part worth thinking about." He looked at Declan. "You said, people like him. If I'd walked in wearing a suit and my card got declined, would you have said the same thing?" Declan stared at the floor. His silver watch suddenly looked very heavy. He looked at the rest of the line, and all of you watched. Not one of you said a word. Then he turned to Solenne. His voice changed. The edge dropped away. "But you didn't look at my clothes. You saw a hungry person. And you gave me everything you had without a second thought. That $20 means more to me than any paycheck I've ever earned, because it was given by someone who had almost nothing, to someone she believed had nothing at all." The elderly man behind Margox began to clap. Slow, steady, like a heartbeat. Then the mother with 2 children. Then the bag boy. Then the whole store. Solenne covered her mouth, tears streaming, shaking her head like she could not understand why anyone would make a fuss about doing what seemed obvious to her. Margox stood in the middle of the applause, drowning in it. Every clap a mirror. Every pair of eyes a verdict. A man near the exit had been filming the whole thing. Now, to understand why that $20 mattered, you need to know 2 things. Who had the idea and who gave the money? Most people know Keanu Reeves, the actor. What most people don't know is who he is when the cameras are off. He rides the subway, sits on park benches eating sandwiches alone, drives an ordinary car. Once gave millions from his own salary to the crew on his film because, as he put it, "They worked harder than I did." He has lived through the kind of loss that would have turned most people bitter. But instead of building walls, he built bridges. Lately, something had been eating at him. For all his simplicity, the world still bent around him. Doors opened. Smiles came easy. Help arrived before he needed it. He wondered what would happen if none of that existed. If he looked like nobody, if he needed $20 and had nothing to offer in return. He told his assistant Cyrus the plan. Cyrus, who had been with him for over 10 years, who had seen him at his worst and never flinched. "You want to go grocery shopping without money?" Keanu said, "I want to see what the world really looks like for people who have nothing to offer in return." Cyrus was quiet for a while. Then he asked which store, and Solenne Adiami, 24 years old, Lagos, Nigeria to Los Angeles on a work visa 5 years ago. For 3 years she worked hard and sent money home every month to her parents. Her father repaired electronics. Her mother sold fabric at the market and had a way of reading people that bordered on supernatural. "Watch how a person treats someone who can do nothing for them," her mother once said. That is who they truly are. Solon was 12 when she heard that. She carried it like a compass. Then 3 years ago, a phone call on a Tuesday afternoon. She was stacking cans in a grocery store, not Valley Market, a different one. A cousin's voice, shaking so badly she barely recognized it. A truck on an expressway. Both parents gone. She stood in aisle 7 holding a can of tomatoes in one hand and her phone in the other, while the world ended quietly around her. She did not get to say goodbye. Her brother Deo was 14. Sent to an aunt in Lagos who beat him, starved him, pulled him out of school. Solon spent 2 years fighting the immigration system to bring him to America. Lawyers. Fees. Denials. Appeals. More fees. It nearly destroyed her financially and emotionally. There were nights she sat on her apartment floor and cried until nothing was left. But she did it. Deo arrived at Ludax with a small backpack and eyes too old for 16. Now they lived in a one-bedroom apartment in Pasadena. Deo slept in the bedroom. Solon slept on the couch, though she told him she preferred the living room for the light. She worked 2 jobs, cashier by day, office cleaner by night, and attended accounting classes in between. 2 semesters left. Some days she skipped lunch so Deo could have dinner. Some nights she went to bed hungry so he could wake up full. That crumpled 20 was everything she had for 5 days, and she gave it to a stranger without blinking. The video went up that same evening, posted by a man named Terrence, a 42-year-old accountant who had been standing near the exit with his phone raised. "You won't believe what I just saw at my grocery store. 4 million views by Sunday, 12 million by Monday, 28 million by Wednesday." Every news outlet picked it up. 2 faces emerged from that video. Solon became a symbol. So did Margox. They did not choose the same symbol. Keanu declined every interview. Released one statement through Cyrus. "I didn't do anything. She did everything. I just stood there and forgot my wallet." Then he went back. Found Solon at work the next day. Asked her for coffee. She said she couldn't. Second job in 2 hours. He asked when she was free. Thursday. She picked a small cafe on Verdugo Road. Nothing fancy. Keanu drove himself in an old car. Solon was there in a yellow sundress she had probably ironed 3 times. They talked for 4 hours. She told him about Lagos, her parents, the phone call, Deo, the immigration fight, the 2 jobs, and the bus rides with a textbook on her knees. She wanted to build her own accounting firm someday. Something honest, where the books were clean and people were treated with dignity. That day at the store, Keanu said, "I didn't forget my wallet." "I know," she said. "That inside pocket worked just fine. The wallet pocket probably did too. You're not angry." My mama could spot a lie across the street. But she also taught me that sometimes people test you because they've been hurt, and the only answer is to be yourself. What grew between them was not romance. It was something harder to name and rarer to find. Genuine respect between 2 people who recognized the same thing in each other. Keanu offered 3 things. Her last 2 semesters covered as a 0-interest loan, pay it forward when she was ready. A full scholarship for Deo, any university, and mentorship with the head of his production company's accounting department. Not a job. Knowledge. Solon resisted the loan. "I'm not a charity case," he said. "That's exactly why it's a loan. When you're on your feet, you find someone where you are now and do the same." She accepted. When Deo heard about the scholarship, he put his head on the kitchen table and cried. "Sis, is this real?" She rubbed his back and said nothing because some moments are too big for words. Quietly, Keanu established the Sycamore Fund, named after the street where the store stood. It supported working people who did not qualify for traditional help, people too busy surviving to fill out the right paperwork. He never put his name on it publicly. 1 week later, Declan Furrow walked back into Valley Market. Found Solon at Register 3. "I'm the man who said people like him. I've thought about it every day. I'm ashamed." He left $200 in an envelope. Solenne took it and said, "If you really want to change, next time someone can't pay, be the one who steps up." He nodded, left. She never saw him again. But a man matching his description made a quiet donation to the Sycamore Fund shortly after. While Solenne's life was opening up and Declan was sitting with his shame, Margox Whitfield was falling apart. The internet identified her within 24 hours. Her employer, a beauty supply chain where she had worked 7 years, fired her Monday morning. Your conduct does not align with our company values. Her car was repossessed. Her friends vanished. And instead of sitting with it, instead of letting the pain do its work, she recorded a response video. Tears. I was set up. Keanu tricked me. I'm the victim here. I go to church every Sunday. It made everything worse. Because no one had scripted her cruelty. No one had forced those words out of her mouth. And Keanu had not filmed anything. A bystander had. The self-defense video turned anger into contempt. A second wave hit harder than the first. Within a month, she had lost everything. Job, car, apartment, friends. Moved in with her sister. Applied for jobs everywhere. Nobody called back. Every search engine told the same story. Whether the punishment fit the crime is a question that has no clean answer. Margox was wrong. Nobody disputes that. But the internet does not do proportional. It does not weigh context. It takes a moment, freezes it, and makes it permanent. And a person is left carrying the worst 30 seconds of their life for years, sometimes forever. That is worth sitting with, even if you believe she earned every bit of it. 11 months later, Solenne graduated, top of her class. Keanu sat quietly in the back row in a gray t-shirt. He had opened a door. She walked through it herself. Every early shift, every late night with a textbook, every meal she skipped. The degree was hers. She started an internship at a small accounting firm, learned fast, asked sharp questions. But she kept working Register 3 on weekends. Keanu asked why. She said, "That register is where I learned what $20 can do. Not to your life. To mine. It taught me who I am." Then on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, Margox walked into Valley Market. No salon hair, no acrylic nails, no designer bag, plain clothes. Tired eyes. She was not there to shop. The store had a help, wanted sign. Stock clerk. Minimum wage. It was the last place still accepting applications. Everywhere else had Googled her name. She sat in the break room filling out the form with shaking hands. Preston recognized her and froze. Solenne appeared beside him. 4 words. Give her a chance. After everything she said, everyone deserves a second chance, Preston. Margox was hired. Stock clerk. She unloaded boxes, stacked shelves, swept floors, did not complain. On her first morning, she stopped in front of Register 3, stared at the counter. This was the spot. First days are always the hardest, Solenne said from behind her. Margox turned. Whatever she had been holding together collapsed. Why? After everything I did. I know you're the reason I'm here. Why would you help me? Because you needed help. And I could help. It's not complicated. Same words. Same woman. Whether the person standing in front of her was a stranger in a torn jacket or the woman who had humiliated her, Solenne's answer did not change. Margox broke. I was everything wrong with the world that day. And you were everything right. Solenne took her hand. It's never too late to start over, sister. Weeks later, Solenne invited Margox to volunteer at a food bank 2 blocks away. Margox hesitated, said yes. She stood behind the counter in a hairnet and plastic gloves, scooping rice onto paper plates for people she once would have driven past without a second thought. A man came through the line. Torn jacket. Rough beard. Shoes held together with tape. He held out his plate. Margox's hands shook. She served him. He said, "Thank you, ma'am." She looked him in the eyes and said, "You're welcome. I hope you enjoy your meal." No cameras, no audience, no applause. Just a woman in a hairnet meaning it. Sometimes the most important changes happen exactly like that. Quietly. In the space between who you were and who you are choosing to become. Deo's acceptance letter came on a Thursday. UCLA, School of Engineering. Full scholarship. He sat on the front steps of their Pasadena apartment, reading it 3 times before his legs gave out. When Solenne came home, he was still there, letter in hand. Smile so wide it looked like it hurt. His admissions essay had been about his sister. It ended with one paragraph the committee said was the reason they accepted him. My sister taught me that kindness is not something you do when you have enough. Kindness is what you do especially when you don't have enough. She had $20. A stranger needed 1973. She didn't do the math on what she would lose. She did the math on what he needed. That is who she is. And if this man, Keanu Reeves, one of the most famous people in the world, was smart enough to see that in a grocery store checkout line, then maybe the rest of us should start looking harder at the people we walk past every day. A year after the incident, Solenne opened a DME Financial Services. Small office, second-hand furniture, honest books. Her first client was a grocery store on Sycamore Boulevard. She never charged them. At Register 3, a small handwritten sign appeared in a simple frame. If you can't pay, we've got you. Below it, in smaller letters, courtesy of the Sycamore Fund. Preston knew where the money came from. Solenne knew. Nobody else needed to. When a reporter cornered Keanu months later, he said, "I didn't do anything special. She's the story. Not me. I just forgot my wallet." Then he said one more thing before walking away. If you want to know what a person is really made of, don't look at what they do when the world is watching. Look at what they do when they think nobody will ever know. Here is what I keep coming back to. Margox was not a monster. She was ordinary. She absorbed the same message this society plays on repeat, that your value is what you own. She looked at a torn jacket and ranked a human being below her. The only difference between Margox and a lot of other people is that someone happened to be filming. And Solenne had $20. A stranger needed 1973. She did not weigh the cost, did not check if he was worthy, just reached into her pocket. The richest person in that store was not the one with the biggest wallet. Next time someone in front of you comes up short, you have a choice. The same one everyone in that line had. Most of them chose silence. One chose different. Be that one. If this story stayed with you, subscribe and hit that bell. Every story carries something worth keeping. This one is simple. Kindness costs. That is what makes it real.